on his iPhone there. But that was one of the highlights of the season. One of the highlights. Beating the Milwaukee Bucks by 35 points. And that was like a barometer for the Golden State Warriors. Remember that? It was a barometer for them. A barometer game. We're like, all right, let's see how good they are. Can they play with the big boys? Can they ball out? And everybody was healthy for the first time since November 27th, 28th. And we thought, boy, now it's takeoff time for the Golden State Warriors. Now, they do win 46 games, 2 more than last season. But it's been a very, very topsy-turvy type of regular season here. Incomplete, imperfect, frustrating. Are you pleased?
So I want to start here. I wrote down pros and cons of the 2023-2024, and I left some off the table so that you could contribute as well. All right?
I have mine on top of the head, so
all right.
I'm glad you're letting me participate in this exercise.
Well, then give me your pros.
I'm
I'll
glad
cross them on or off.
I'm glad you're letting me partake in this exercise on the show that I co-host with you.
Give me your pros.
Well, the pro is Jonathan Kuminga. There's a player there.
Okay. He doubled nearly every stat this year.
Most improved player. He's going to be a finalist for that. Trace Jackson-Davis. I found me a big who can be a nice role player moving forward for the Golden State Warriors. Is he a starter moving forward? I'm not 100% sure, but he's a guy who's going to contribute and play the right way. He's not going to make mistakes. He's going to defend. He's going to contest shots. He knows his role on offense. He's going to rim run. He's got great hands. He's not going to fumble any passes, and he's going to dunk on your head.
And I think obviously the blocks per game was gorgeous.
Well, contesting shots
and
being a rim protector.
Let me add that the combination of him and Draymond Green felt like it did unlock something for that starting unit and enabled them to be able to throw Klay back into that starting lineup. And it felt more balanced and more traditional.
I don't know if you have this, but Steph Curry's still elite. So still an All-NBA player.
Steph's still amazing.
Steph is still amazing. Now, is he the same Steph from 5 years ago, 10 years ago? No, he's not. He struggled after the All-Star break in terms of efficiency. Yeah, I say struggled. He averaged 24, 4, and 4. Those are still some pretty damn good numbers, but it was a tick down from Stephen Curry. The efficiency numbers since the All-Star break just was not good. But I know I still have an elite player who's going to draw a lot of attention. Even when he doesn't have the ball, he's going to open up the offense for many, many others on this basketball team. So that's another pro.
Anything else?
Road games.
I didn't have that one. Didn't have that.
They stabilize themselves away from home, showing that, hey, we could be a comparable basketball team away from Chase Center.
Yep.
2, another one, Klay Thompson.
I have
perspective.
Well, this
sacrifice.
This is what I put with Klay, and you tell me if I'm wrong here. Clearly, I had some issues with Klay last year, just in general, and I thought his attitude and everything, there was a lot going on. I think Klay had a come-to-Jesus type of a season. He embraced his new role, went back to the old role. He became more endearing, more lovable, and I thought he was much more efficient and just a happier basketball player this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, he was happy. Last year, he wanted to be that all-star. Because look, a lot of people after winning the championship, and people forget, he led the team in minutes played during that postseason championship run in 2022, where they win their 4th championship in a decade. And Klay Thompson played the most minutes, shot a great percentage, and for some reason didn't get the respect that he deserved. And all last season, all we kept doing, and we knew had so many fights about Klay Thompson, and I get why he was shooting the way he was shooting. He was trying to do too much. They had the team meeting. He scaled back a little bit. But by the end of the season, it felt like the play-in season in which it was Steph and Klay shooting and nobody else wanted to shoot. And so even though he struggled at times and even though his attitude probably needed to be checked at times during that season, he still led the league at threes made and shot 41%. And I know people don't want to hear about that in the raw data. I got to throw plus minus and this and that. But I thought Klay, despite everything, despite the rift with the team, the rift in the locker room, Draymond Green said it after the season, it was tough to go to work every single day. Now, part of the problem was he helped create that with what happened at training camp. But it was, you could just tell the team wasn't clicking. They weren't all on the same page. Then you had Andrew Wiggins leave for 2 months due to personal reasons, which is none of our business, and he went away. But the team was, last year it was incomplete. You just want to talk about a rocky road, and yet they still get the 6th seed and advance to the second round of the playoffs. So I think Klay Thompson coming in this year, and really that perspective happening midway through the year, and he comes off the bench a game before the All-Star break and doesn't even look back. I think Klay Thompson's stock He made himself more valuable across the league, around the league. I think Klay Thompson had a dynamic season. I think he had a special season for him. And he ended it on a high note, making 6 threes yesterday.
Yeah, and playing in 77 games, leading the team in games played, leading second in the team in minutes per game. I think a lot of things are uptick, 38%, 39% from three-point land. Like he had a really good year, really good year. And I think Steve Kerr deserves a ton of credit for that as well, because it sounded like they had multiple heart-to-hearts. And yeah, so that's it. Give me some more pros for the 2023.
Chris Paul.
I have that as well. What about Chris Paul?
Well, I just remember coming into the season. I wrote down
3 or 4 things.
Yeah, I just remember, one, his mentorship of the youngsters, embracing the youngsters.
I've got that.
Was special. Stabilizing the second unit, being asked to do multiple things, starting or coming off the bench. And then, Chris Paul, we need you to push the pace a little more. We need you to shoot. Well, ever since he got back from the left hand fracture, the guy shot 40% from 3.
Yeah.
Chris Paul was... I think he was everything and more for the Golden State Warriors. And all the conversations coming into the season. Oh, it drove me crazy, Shasky. You know it drove me crazy. Oh, what's he going to do when he doesn't start? He's never come off the bench before in his career. Then it gets off. Yeah, maybe not on a great foot in Las Vegas when he gets asked by Kid Andrews about the bench starting role, and he shoots back and goes, you coaching? We haven't had that conversation yet. But not 1 minute during the regular season did we ever wonder, boy, is Chris Paul unhappy? He may be unhappy on the inside with his role and maybe not finishing games at times, but we didn't hear a peep.
Yeah.
Chris Paul was the total professional with this basketball team, and I think he's flipped the narrative for many, many Warrior fans. You talk about from going from the most hated non-Warrior in the last 15, 20 years to, can we bring CP3 back?
I know. Most want him. I don't think he's coming back, but we'll see. I wrote down professional stabilizer, and I mean that in terms of connecting the young guys to the old guys, connecting the second unit to the first unit. And I just think being a consummate professional day in, day out in attitude, because last year it did feel like multiple teams. It just did. And this year it doesn't. And when I see all of the little conversations he's having on the floor, off the floor, I hear him at the podium. He's the professional stabilizer. How many times did the Warriors have a lead or had a deficit and he stabilized the game where he kept it close? Last year it was, we're bailing water when Steph's not on the floor. Oh my God, he's got to save us. And this year it felt like the exact opposite. And I think Chris Paul was a big part of that. What else do you have written down here?
By the way, some breaking news with the Phoenix Suns. Grayson Allen just agreed to a 4-year, $70 million contract extension.
Oh.
Cash out, Grayson Allen. Wow, $70 million.
When does that money kick in?
Yeah, no pun intended. Good for him. As the Suns play the Minnesota T-Wolves in the first round, they beat Minnesota.
You like that?
They beat Minnesota.
Like that?
They beat Minnesota all 3 times in the regular season. It blew them out yesterday. So Phoenix feeling good about that 6-3 matchup. 6-3 matchup. By the way, the Suns' payroll is now $206 million, with another $104 million looming in luxury tax. So he's trying to keep this team. Think about that. They're a 6 seed. He's trying to keep that core together. They need a point guard. They need a point guard bad. All right, moving on.
So what else do you have on your pros of 2023?
My pro is Draymond Green in terms of this. And there's some cons with Draymond Green. I'm just saying it's all pros.
Okay.
But the pro with Draymond Green is still elite defensively.
All right.
The con is, I don't know if that's good enough for this team to be a championship team. And obviously the cons with him missing 26 games.
We'll get to cons in a second. What else? What else was a positive step forward for this team? Because I've got a couple more that you haven't
go ahead. Go ahead. Well,
I think Podziemski was a revelation. I think most people thought Podziemski, like myself, I'll raise my hand. He'll play in Santa Cruz. We'll get a little bit of him when there's a big maintenance day and 50 people don't play. But Podziemski was unbelievable. He leapfrogged so many guys. He was 5th most minutes per game. He was the 2nd leading rebounder. He was a hustle guy, a glue guy. I think there were some areas that he improved in the middle of the season. Shot selection, I think being a better facilitator. Defensively, he clearly had a ton of charges that he accumulated. I think Podziemski was amazing this year. If we're just going like what I expected versus what ended up happening, Podziemski was a huge part of that.
You know, I think about Pods, and I like the resiliency. He was just slumping.
Okay.
He was slumping, and a lot of fans started turning their backs on him. You know how it rolls. Oh, man, Pods is playing too many minutes. Pods this, Pods that, Pods this, Pods that. Well, he had 17, 10, 5, and 5 games. He's going to make one of the all-rookie teams.
Okay.
I did not expect that coming into the year. This rookie class is loaded. Pods is going to he's going to get one of the 10 spots on the all-rookie team, first or second team. Probably get second team. TJD is going to be a candidate to get that second team as well, all-rookie team. So the rookies popped. Pods bouncing back and playing some good basketball. Now, Friday night wasn't his best night, but Pods, there's a player there. He's got some value. I'd also say this, too. Another positive. Is Steve Kerr willing to do some things that he hasn't done before? And he realized that, boy, this ain't the same roster from 2022. I have to tweak some things. I have to have some uncomfortable conversations with a lot of my players. He did that with Andrew Wiggins. He's come off the bench. Obviously, you had the CP3 dynamic. And he told Klay Thompson, Klay, I'm going to need you to come off the bench. And Klay cursed out the coaching staff and Steve Kerr. But you know what? He embraced it.
Well,
and he changed his role.
There's one other guy you're omitting. I think pivoting off Looney and going to TJD was the seminal moment in the season.
Well, I think the seminal moment may have been Klay Thompson. Maybe Looney, too. Although Looney, you're going to need him, I think, at times against the bonus tomorrow. That's something we'll talk about tomorrow. But moving off of Looney, but just doing things out of his comfort zone.
Yes, I agree.
He was willing to pivot. And also having that come to Jesus moment with Jonathan Kuminga, where Kuminga comes out and says, Steve Kerr lost my trust. And they had to sit down, really, and they had the one-on-one. JK gets the haircut, and he doesn't look back. Post-haircut, JK's been unbelievable. So Steve Kerr willing to do things outside of his comfort zone. I saw a coach willing to pivot for the first time in a long time there. So I think that's a big positive moving forward.
I was going to add to the Steve Kerr file that I felt like they did a really good job with the, we've talked about it forever, but the after timeout inbound plays. But in particular for me, it's half-court offense, blending the CP3 style of play with the motion style of play. I thought they did a much better job. They were very like, oh, we're going to do the ball movement thing, and they would never do the high pick and roll stuff. I thought that they did a really good job blending the two. Now, there are times I want one or the other a little more, and that's going to happen. But I think schematically on the offensive side, I think he was much better this year.
He was good. He was solid. He was solid there.
Vontae, it's time for you to do the legal.
All right, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and HD1, San Francisco. Don't forget, you can also watch us every single day on our YouTube and Twitch streams. Just log on and search 95.7 The Game. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you are there. Brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal First Class Money Market today. You can now download the Odyssey app directly from our YouTube and Twitch pages, as we have added the QR code on both pages. Shout out to the Xfinity Mobile text line. Play in a set, folks. Kings, Warriors, tomorrow night at the G1C, the Go to One Center, 7 p.m. tip-off. Coverage all beginning at 6 p.m. We'll have Kyle Draper on tomorrow. We'll have Kenny Caraway on tomorrow. We got Morgan Reagan on today, host for NBC Sports California. Also the Deuce and Mo podcast. He knows Kings, all Kings, everything. She's ready to roll at 9:20 as we start to wrap it up towards a play-in game. But 888-957-9570. I want to hear from Dub Nation. One word to describe this regular season in which the Warriors go 46-36. It was a winning record. They didn't win 2 more games than they did last season.
Just crazy.
But they're now the 10th seed instead of the 6th seed. So what is one word to describe this roller coaster of a regular season? Because that's what it was. You had some great stretches. You had some bad stretches. You had some incomplete play. There's a lot of dynamics here. One word to describe the regular season, 888-957-9570.
This is more of an acronym as opposed to a word, but is TBD an acceptable response for some people?
Absolutely.
As in, I want to see how it finishes, because more than any other team in the league, like, they're all about the end result.
Well, we're talking about the regular season here. The regular season will change. Our perspective on the postseason can change, but we're talking about the regular season here.
So even if you hear, because I did see some rhetoric, well, now with OKC in the 1 spot, you wanted to avoid the 7. Like, I think that's a little like too schematic for me.
Think about this. If you do get past Sacramento, you're either taking on Lakers or Crypto.com Arena, and they're rolling, or You're going to New Orleans, a team that just dropped 45 on you in the second quarter.
Looked a lot younger and more athletic and more
they can hit the
dynamic
three.
from the outside.
Do you know the Pelicans are a top 5 team when it comes to quarter threes?
No.
They shoot over 40% from each quarter, left and right. And then at the top of the block, where they're running and getting out on the break, you got Trey Murphy III hitting shots from the logo. So that's what's on deck Friday, either the Pelicans or the Lakers.
I have a hard time, just me, and call me a cynic. I have a hard time seeing the league not trying to do everything they can in terms of the whistles to get the Lakers into that playoffs. I just have a hard time seeing
think the Lakers are going to roll the Pelicans tomorrow. I have no doubt in my mind. And the Lakers are going to roll. I mean, LeBron James yesterday the guy dropped. He in the first quarter alone, he had like 9 assists. I mean, the Pelicans are scared of the Lakers. Come on, Pelicans. We'll get to Danny in just a second here in San Jose as we get our one word association here. One word to describe the regular season. Why are you using that word to describe the regular season for the Golden State Warriors?
So I'm looking at some of the cons of this year. I wrote down a bunch of pros, and I think there's a lot of pros. There's a lot of pros. And then I wrote down a bunch of the cons.
You should have probably did the cons first.
I know.
Or bad news first, good news.
I mean, and I don't want to like dwell on them, but I'll rat-a-tat-tat some of them. You could throw. You get in wherever you want.
I got plenty of cons.
Blew huge leads, turnovers again, no clear-cut second scorer on a night-to-night basis, Draymond's availability being all over the map, Looney's regression, Steph, although still amazing, not as efficient. The home record, I don't know what to make of it. The yo-yoing of lineups, specific games where they manage certain players, availability.
27 different starting lineups on the season.
See,
which
that's
is top 10.
I didn't have that.
But you know the Dallas Mavericks had 34 different starting lineups. The Dallas Mavericks. 34 different starting lineups.
But I look at their 3 through 5 after Kyrie. They're a little more interchangeable. Yeah. So I guess I'm not that surprised. What other? So 27 different lineups. What other cons?
Well, these are team specific. You got home record there.
I put that
home record
right before that.
Blow leads.
I put that the
points off turnovers.
I put turnovers in a big bucket. There's a big bucket of issues.
Do we get to the players?
Well, I just put, Looney regression, Draymond availability, Saric starting hot and finishing absolutely ice cold. I mean, literally Alaska. I mean, he's just done. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Let's go to Danny in San Jose. Danny, what's happening? You're on the road.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you. I think about the Warriors. I think a one-word survival.
Ooh.
I don't think that word would fit them a few years back when they won the few championships. It wasn't survival. They were dominant. Nobody wanted to play them. But this year, like the last gentleman was mentioning, there was times when everyone thought this is done, this team's done, but they survived. Klay Thompson losing his shot, wondering what's going on with him. People talking about trading him. Look at him. They survived with him. Kuminga. I mean, let's not talk about Draymond, right? It's just there's always been an issue. And then they had that emotional grieving period with their assistant coach.
Yeah.
They survived that.
Yeah.
They survived that. I mean,
really good point.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. So they've hit some big bumps in the road, and I think this playoff is going to be a series of survival for them. They're going to somehow survive it and get to the next level. I really believe in the Warriors. So keep surviving, Warriors. I love you guys.
I like that. Thanks. Good word, Danny. 888-957-9570.
That's a really good one.
Danny uses survival. Yeah, Decky. The Warriors had to take a week off there. Salt Lake City. They'll never go to Salt Lake City the same. No. They'll never go back to that restaurant. Wow. Survival. I like that word. I like that word a lot. 574 is Hoodie Mobile text line. Stressful. 816, one word. Mysterious. Mysterious. Why mysterious?
Yeah, why mysterious?
Mysterious. It's an interesting word there. Interesting word.
I think of the South Park character.
Mentality on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ageism.
A
little too old.
Oh, I thought maybe like there was a hierarchy on the team.
Okay. That
would have been more last year.
Too old. Priest in Palo Alto all time.
Oh, no, he's all time.
What's up? Fish is stinking from the head up.
Brandon Cadiz, bipolar. It's been an interesting year. Bipolar's a strong word.
Yeah, that's
Not sure I would use that.
not gonna use that one.
I'm out.
Catastrophe. Serial connection. That's the second word.
If they end up losing tomorrow, I think we can
Oh my
throw
gosh.
the catastrophe around. I mean, you
Oh,
lose to the Kings. I mean, this
Well,
game against the Kings, man. I'd be lying to you if I said I was fully confident in this one.
well,
The Warriors have been a grab bag this year.
I mean-
I have no idea who's making quarter to quarter, lineup to lineup. I don't know what to expect. That's why I used the word erratic earlier, because one quarter they could look like world beaters, and then just a couple of guys check in, and everything goes to crazy.
the last two times they played Sacramento, one of them they blew a 24-point lead. And the next game they give up 134 points, lose by one. Harrison Barnes has the game of his life. 39 points in that game. 39 points for Harrison Barnes. He had 7 threes in that game. You think Harrison Barnes wants another shot at ending this whole run? He had a chance last year in Game 4 to put the Kings up 3-1. He missed it.
And I was the only one on this between the two of us whose heart stopped for a second.
No, I did, too.
You knew immediately when
No, I
Harrison
did.
had the ball that nothing was going to happen.
No, I did. I was watching at the Gatehouse on the big screen, and because the big screen on the Chase Center board was right there at Thrive City was ahead of the TVs that we had at the Gatehouse, and that shot went up, and I lost my breath for a second. I was like, oh. And when he missed, I was like, oh yeah, that's Harrison Barnes.
I'll be honest, the second he started pulling up for that shot, I was like, oh, good, the Warriors won this game.
No,
I was
I-
exactly.
no
I
way.
knew
No
he
way.
is missing this shot
No
It would
so
have been
bad.
so fitting
No
for him to
way.
end the
I don't
dynasty.
believe you.
It would have been so fitting
Well, you
for him
cannot
to
believe
end
me.
the
It's true.
dynasty.